Hello everybody and welcome back to Odin's movie vlog. I am the critic who is a cynic. Hope you are doing well. And today we're talking about Aladdin and how we're going to be seeing a whole new world, a new fantastic point of, oh my god, what in the hell is this? What? Oh, that's hot. In the words of Will Smith, that's hot. That's hot right there. Oh my god, what in the hell have they done with the genie? Oh, this is why we can't have nice things, Disney. You see, just stick to your classic animated movies. Stop remaking everything. I said it when the Lion King trailer came out. Oh my god, it looks awful. They've CGI'd everything because they have to. And if everything's computer generated, why are they remaking it? You already have an animated version. That's great. Oh, it's a live action version. No, it's not. No, it's not. Oh, we use real sets and real places in certain times. Okay, I don't care. Your animals look awful. There's no need. There is absolutely no need for it either. There is no need for it. Oh, but now we're going to get things right. And oh, now it's going to be, you know, multicultural and diverse. It's going to be the most diverse casting ever. Most people just don't care about that. All we care about is the fact that Aladdin is, in many of our opinions, in fact, mine especially, it has a very special place in our hearts. I love Disney's Aladdin. I love the 1992 release. It's one of my favorite Disney films of all time. Has one of the best scores ever. And you cannot replace Robin Williams and the amazing performance that he did with Will Smith. One of the biggest parts, one of the biggest aspects to the character of the genie is being able to do impressions. And that was something that was brought to life by who? Or by whom? Robin Williams. They tried to, because remember when they made Return to Jafar? Remember when they made the sequel to Aladdin and Robin Williams didn't sign on to that movie and they brought somebody else in and it just wasn't the same because the guy just tried to be Robin Williams, and you can't just try and be Robin Williams. You either are him or you aren't him. Now they're trying to do this with him. And again, Will Smith, okay, I like him in a couple of things. There's a couple things off the top of my head that I can think of. And no, one of them is not Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. I did not like that show. I never got into it as a kid. Still don't really find the appeal of it. Just not for me. Just not my kind of show. But I do like him in a couple of things that he's done throughout his career. Wild Wild West is a hilarious movie. Men in Black. I'm kidding. It could be about Wild Wild West. It's a terrible movie, but it's a lot of fun. It is funny. It is quite hilarious. But Men in Black. I mean, I love his character in Men in Black. I think that he has charisma. I think that he definitely has the potential to be a great actor, and we've seen that. We've seen him be able to pull those out. He's not the genie, though. Yeah, he was in a comedy series, and he's done comedy before, but he's not a comic. Or at least he's not really known for being a comic, let alone a comic that can do impersonations. So what I'm afraid of is now we're going to get a total revamp of this story to the point where it's almost unrecognizable. I mean, I look just the costumes alone, and they're already changing these things up. Oh, well, it's more accurate, etc., etc. Most people don't care about that. What we care about is it going to be a good movie, and is it going to be worth remaking a classic perfect story that's already perfect the way it is with this? And if you've got freaking hair coming out the middle of his head, which makes no damn sense, it just looks stupid. I don't know what you're expecting to give us here. I mean, okay, I think that Princess Jasmine, she looks like Princess Jasmine. That's fine. Again, the guy that they chose for Aladdin, he looks fine. I mean, he looks like he's Aladdin. I don't know about his costume. Again, Jasmine's costume looks about right. Again, is reminiscent of the movie. Aladdin's not so much. And then you got Will Smith, who's just Will Smith. Like, he doesn't have blue skin or anything like that. I mean, I understand that it's a live-action remake, so maybe they didn't want to go the blue skin route, but, I mean, it's kind of a big part of his character. I mean, I guess, oh, he's got a blue costume, and that's how we make up for it. Okay, but then all you have is Will Smith looking like Will Smith. The other two look like they're in character. The other two look like they've been made up. Other than the hair and the fake beard, Will Smith just looks like Will Smith dressed as a genie. God. Oh, and if this is the first look, I can only imagine what the final product's gonna look like. Because, oh my god, if they can't even get the look down, and also it's questionable whether or not they're gonna get the performance down. Because again, you can't be Robin Williams. I don't know what they're gonna do here. It just doesn't make any sense. I mean, the marketplace, that looks fine. Again, Jasmine, beautiful actress that they've chosen for Princess Jasmine. Very good looking actor that they've chosen for Aladdin. Again, that works. That relationship looks like it's going to work, and it looks like it's gonna work out fine. But I just do not understand. I mean, and I like Guy Ritchie. Guy Ritchie is the one doing this film, and I trust Guy Ritchie. But something tells me that Disney had its hands all over this and that it's not fully Guy Ritchie's project. And it's really sad because I think Guy Ritchie could have done a lot of work with this. But guys, let me know that in the comments below. What do you think about this? I think it looks absolutely terrible. But that's just me. And anyway, in other news, so I wanted to talk about this because it did come out today. I know that this is my second video for the day, but I also did want to do some movie reviews also, and I'm going to go through these as quickly as I possibly can. So the first movie that I saw the other day was The Mule. So The Mule might be Clint Eastwood's last film as a director, as an actor. I don't know. It definitely, if you watch the trailer, it made you have this perception that this was going to be, because they said it in the trailer the entire time, this is the last run, this is the last time. So it makes me think that this might just very well be his last movie. And if it is his last movie, it's a fine movie to end on. Is it the best film that he's ever done? Absolutely not. Is it a terrible film? Is it as bad as things like The Hereafter? No, it's not as bad as The Hereafter. It's an okay movie. So one, you've got this man. So it's an older guy who used to be what was it, a horticulturalist? Is what the term is called? People who work with flowers. Is that what it is? They don't have it in the description. Anyway, a horticulturalist. I'm probably saying that incorrectly, but you know, you can correct me in the comments. Who has retired, was forced to retire because the internet took over and everything was so much easier to buy online and ship instead of the in-person interactions that he had at various events. He was very successful, but he also spent more time focusing on his flowers and his occupation than he did on his actual family, missing his daughter's wedding, for example. And fast forwards, it's his granddaughter who is getting married, and now he's showing back up. Now he is trying to get involved with her life. Now he is trying to make up for all the lost time. His wife, his ex-wife, and his daughter obviously don't buy into it. They very much hate him, but his granddaughter loves him and really wants him and thinks and believes in him and really wants him to change and thinks that he is going to. Well, eventually we see that one of the aspects to this is that he was promising to pay for some of the wedding. And since he is now out of the job, he can't. And so this is where he meets somebody who says, hey, I can get you a job driving. He doesn't know what he's driving, but eventually over time, as the name suggests, he realizes that he is a mule, that he is transferring drugs across state lines from Texas all the way to Illinois, so from the border all the way until basically like the Midwest almost. So it's a very interesting concept, a very interesting movie, and there are a lot of really good things to this. I think that the acting throughout this film is great. I think all of the actors are great. Clint Eastwood obviously gives a very good performance. He's great at playing the old racist man, which he plays once again. It reminded me a lot of his role in Gran Torino. It wasn't exactly that role. I don't think it was as racist, but at some point we hear a reference to a taco truck, among many other things, and it's great. I mean, and people might say, oh, it's just so racist, and oh, he always has this in his movies, and why is he such a racist guy, etc. It's like, no. He's basically portraying a guy that is his age in this town who would have these kind of thoughts. I mean, people at his age, like in their 90s, is going to have those kind of thoughts. It's sad. I'm not saying it's okay, but you can't deny the fact that they're going to have those thoughts. They grew up in that era. It was a different time, and a lot of them don't want to change. A lot of them just don't have the capacity to change anymore because they've been alive for so damn long. But anyway, The Mule, it's a fine film. Cinematography looks great. Acting is spot on. Pacing is okay. Pacing can be a little bit slow at times. And overall, the film, it just going from the runs that he has about like 12 different runs. They only show a few of them. Going from run to run, sometimes it's very disjointed. There are some similar beats that happen throughout, but overall, I liked it. I thought it was a good movie. So overall, I would give this movie a solid B. It's a fine movie, fine performances overall, and I would like it. So if it's playing in theater near you, it's a independent film. So I recommend you going to check it out. Again, if you like Clint Eastwood, and you liked movies like Gran Torino, I think that you'll enjoy his performance here. It's not the best thing in the world. It's not going to, just blow you out of your seat, but I like it overall. All right, second movie that I saw was Creed 2. Now, this is a movie that I've already talked about a bit on Twitter, and this, in my opinion, if we consider this as part of the Rocky collection, is the worst Rocky movie that's ever been made. I know some people say, how, it's worse than Rocky 5? I'm someone who didn't hate Rocky 5. I actually found Rocky 5 somewhat enjoyable. Is it the best movie? No. Is it one of the weaker movies? Absolutely. Again, I would consider it to be the weakest Rocky film up until this point. Creed 1 was one of my favorite films of the year it came out. I mean, I think it came out 2015 or so, and it was great. It was excellent. It was so well done, and a lot of that has to do with the director. A lot of that has to do with the fact that you had a guy that had just come off of doing movies like Fruitvale Station, just actually did Black Panther. He was the director of Black Panther, so it's a very capable guy who knows what he's doing. The director that took over for him does not have that same kind of experience, or at least doesn't seem to have that same kind of experience, because this entire movie was just bland. Like, other than a few sequences that were like very beautiful to look at cinematography wise, it was just a mess. It was it was a pacing catastrophe. The editing was just so off, especially in the very beginning and the very middle. In the very beginning, all the shots that get cut together, it just doesn't make a lot of sense. It's very jumbled. It's a jumbled mess. And then you have this entire like hour and 20-minute period of nothing going on. And it's the most boring and bland type of movie that I just hate. It's not that it was a drama. Again, I love dramas. So, I mean, I just talked about The Mule. The Mule is far from an action movie. It's a drama, and it knows what it is. But Creed 2, it couldn't even do the drama right. So that's why Creed 2 is by far the worst of the Rocky movies, in my opinion. I mean, I love movies. Like, my favorites would be Rocky Balboa. Actually, I love Rocky Balboa. If no one's ever seen it, it's actually a really good movie. Like, it's probably one of the most solid Rocky films that Sylvester Stallone had ever been a part of. It just was very, very well put together. And what I like about this movie is that it doesn't ignore the past. It's able to actually, there's one scene at the very end. The ending of this movie is great. I love the ending to this movie. If this movie was just the last fight and the ending, I probably would give it a higher score. I probably would put this above Rocky 5. But because I had to sit through the other hour and 20 minutes of just blah happening on screen and just utter blandness happening on screen, I can't give it that high of a score. But with all that being said, I think that a lot of this has to do, a lot of the reason why this film is getting such huge praise from critics and audiences alike is because audiences might be entertained by this. I think that some people might go into it saying, oh, the fight scenes were great, or this part was great. And I think that if you break it down that way, you go see what the problem is. You can't just break a movie down by its parts. Yet you have to take it in its entirety at some point, at least from a critic's perspective. That's why general audiences are never going to always agree with critics, because critics are going to look at a movie very differently than what a general audience member would. Now, even though general audiences did like this and critics like this, I have to say that I think the reason why the critics put this and tick this off a little bit higher is because of their own bias of identity politics. And people might say, oh, you're just saying that because you're racist, blah, 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 blah. Well, then why did I love Creed 1? Creed 1 was amazing. Like, Creed 1 was one of my favorite Rocky movies of all time because it was so well made. It was well paced, everything was put together, and it was solid. This film just fell flat for me. It wasn't very good. My least favorite Rocky film by far. This is a film that I don't feel everything. Like, there are certain films that I'll watch again. I'll watch Rocky 5 again. I'll watch Rocky 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, Rocky Balboa, Creed 1. I'll watch all those films again. This is a film I feel no need to watch again. This is a film that I'm not going to buy on Blu-ray. I bought Creed 1 as soon as it was available on Blu-ray, and I love that film, and I can't wait to watch that one again to remind myself of how good this character of Adonis Creed, because Michael B. Jordan is great in this film. If there's anything that I can say, Michael B. Jordan knocks it out of the park. He is solid. The problem is, you didn't have the same director. The director did not do a very good job. And because of that, I think that's why the editing failed as well. Because editors obviously do a lot of work, but they do their work in conjunction with the director of the film. And I was just trying to see, who is it? So Stephen Capel Jr. So let me see. So not really. I mean, yeah. So this is the reason why. And here's a perfect example as to why this movie is not as good as people say it is. Look at his track record. He has done 2 movies, one of which got a wide release, The Land, at 68%. And even then, nobody saw it. So this is the reason why. And when people say, how can you not like Creed? Well, it's because of the director. Like, the director is purely the one purely at fault for this movie not being good is the director. And it has a lot to do with the pacing, the editing, and just the blandness of the overall film. And it's because the director obviously has no experience. So it makes perfect sense for me. The last film that I saw, Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. So this is one that's gotten a lot of buzz because, ooh, man, we got Miles Morales. We got such a diverse cast, and there's Spider Women, and oh my goodness. Luckily, this film is none of those things. This film goes beyond what normal SJW-isms would be, which is great, which is why I can definitely recommend this movie. But I will say, before getting into my review, just so that you know, because you can do research and find it out for yourself, one of the directors of the film, because it actually has 3 directors, so it's one of those odd things when you see that happen a lot where basically you have a variety of directors on, usually it's animated films. I don't understand why they do it that way, why there can't just be one director. But this is broken up into 3 different directors, and one of them is pro-Antifa. One of them actually has gone out of their way to say that Antifa, that group that attacks people and threatens people's lives just because they don't agree with them, yeah, that group, yeah, they said that person's great because, oh, they're anti-fascist, so that's great. Yeah, that's one of the directors of this film. So I know a lot of people are kind of holding off on seeing the movie, and I understand and respect that decision. But just so you know, there are 2 other directors who aren't as crazy as that person, and the movie is good. It's solid. The one thing, though, that keeps me... Oh, by the way, for Creed 2, C-. Gave it a C-. Again, just not worth seeing in theaters, I think. Just not a good movie. Anyway, This film, though, some people might think, oh, well, you love the movie, so therefore you must give it a high score. I'm actually not going to give this as high of a score as I would have if it was just based on the story and the characters and the voice acting and all these other things, and the way that it was edited, put together, and the animation style. That would be one thing. But I have a problem with the animation in general, and the reason why is because, and this has caused a lot of controversy, because there's some people who've left the theater because they've gotten headaches, because they've gotten motion sickness because of the animation. And the reason why I have such a problem with it is not because I felt sick or because I got a headache. I have a problem with it because of the fact it was totally unnecessary. And what was unnecessary? It wasn't the animation, like the look of it. Like, see right here, this is the animation style. This is good. Like, this image right here, perfect. The problem is that when the characters are moving, it's like almost like a stop motion movie. It's almost like you're skipping frames between their movements. And it's that kind of like jogginess that is just so disruptive. It is very distracting, and it just doesn't work. It's the worst choice they could have possibly made, because it happens the entire movie. During bigger scenes, like when there's a lot of explosions and things like that, it's harder to notice. But when they slow down and you're still seeing this jumping motion, it's awful. It is one of the worst decisions that they could have made. It's a terrible choice, because the rest of it looks beautiful. Like, the animation actually looks gorgeous. It's the way that they cut it together. It's the way that they allowed it to play out that I have a problem with. And because of that, I can only give this movie a B. And I was so ready to give this film an A minus if I came out liking it, and I do like it a lot. Again, the story is great, acting is great, everything about it, all the pieces and parts are there. But it's an animated movie, and as an animated movie, it's got to be able to have good animation. And even though the images might look beautiful, they screwed up the animated part. And what do we mean by animated? When you put those pictures into motion, you animate that image, right? So the actual animation itself, the animated images, the transition from scene to scene, those are where the problems arise, and they're quite big. It's things like that that are going to keep me from buying this movie in the future, and it's sad because I like it. If they could come out with a cut, if they could recut this film to take out that jagged motion of stop motion and if they could just take that out, I would buy it. I would buy this movie on Blu-ray, because that's how beautiful and how great the story is. And that's like my biggest problem. That's like my biggest gripe. Obviously, I could talk about Kingpin. Kingpin they make into this obelisk, like not just like a big guy, but literally a walking obelisk. It makes no sense whatsoever. I know that the perspective that they were trying to get is that he's a big and powerful guy, but they did not have to make him as big as they did. I thought that was a little extreme. That I could have done without, but you know what? That would have been a small quibble. That would have been a small part because of everything else that happens in this movie. Everything that happens with Miles Morales. The story that he goes on. The hero's journey that he goes on, from not knowing what the hell he's doing to finally starting to figure things out. But even then, not being a perfect person. And that's why I love this movie, because it's not just everyone's great at their job. Everyone's great at Spider-Man. It's they have to learn. It's that they are imperfect beings. They're imperfect people. And I think that's a great thing. I think that's a great concept to bring into the Spider-Man universe. And I think that on paper, if you take that jagged animation out, it's one of the best Spider-Man films that have ever been made. But I can't ignore the animation. As an animated film, I can't just look past it, and I can't just ignore it. So just be warned going into it that there's going to be this animation style that's going to be very annoying. It's going to really, in some cases, it might give you a headache. In some cases, it might be very, very distracting. But for me, it was just annoying because it was something that was totally unnecessary. If you had smoothed it out, it would not have made any difference to the animation style that they have throughout the film. And unfortunately, though, it affects everything, and I have to give it a B because of that. Anyway, what are y'all thoughts on this? Have you seen Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse? Do you disagree with me on the animation? Again, I think the images, like, as I said, the image right here, beautiful. Each individual image is gorgeous. But when they are putting those images together, now obviously everything's now done on a computer instead of it used to be done by hand. It's like if they had done it by hand, but they decided just to skip frames. That's what the animation looks like, and it just looks awful. That's just my thought. I would love to hear your thoughts on Spider-Man Into Spider-Verse. Creed 2, I know a lot of people disagree with me on this one. And again, I went in wanting to love it because I loved Creed 1, but without that ending and final battle, it's a bore. It is just so bland. C-, worst Rocky film that's ever been made. And then The Mule, a fine outing. I think if this is the last film for him, I think it'll be fine. And it's an independent film, so good luck trying to find it. But again, if you've seen any of these films, please let me know in the comments below. Also, guys, please let me know your thoughts on this. Oh my god, I forgot just how bad it is. Oh, please leave a comment if you like this video. Hit that thumbs up, hit that subscribe. It helps me out a lot. You are all amazing and beautiful people. Have a great day, and as always, God bless.